Hello there, folks. Welcome to another episode of E-Wasted. I am Ash. In this episode, we're going over this alien-themed large desktop computer here. So yeah, I'll just start off by starting the video here. Watch me do shit, putting it together. But also, we'll look at the components. This is kind of a review of both the performance, of the system, just strictly on the Passmark benchmark, and also just to kind of play back while we're going over that of me putting the whole thing together. But anyways, this was the motherboard here off AliExpress. It's a X99 and dual CPU. Got M.2, like actually two M.2 slots if you look here. Nice. Extended ATX, USB 3.0, SATA 3, got 8 DIMMs for DDR4, and supports the 2011-3 CPU, just like the Xeon E5 V3 and V4 specifically. So yeah, pretty sweet motherboard. I mean, $70, dual CPU. Okay, looked like a pretty fun little toy to play with. So pick this thing up and we'll see what else I stuck in this thing, huh? So I got, as I'd used in a previous build for just a single CPU board, I got 2 of these bad boys, since they got the 2 of the E5 2697 V3. And when you're looking at these, like when they start with the 2 like that, there's a reason for that. It's because, it's 4 dual socket setups. And they even have like the 4000 series that's for, I guess, 4 sockets if you can find one. I mean, usually those are strictly in server. You're not going to find that for like a desktop purpose board that I've seen anyways. But yeah, these are pretty nice. They're 2.6 gigahertz off the bat, then they turbo at like, I don't know, 3.2 or 3.5 or something like that. It'll say right here 2.6. Yep, turbos at 3.6, so you jump up a full gigahertz there. And so this is what they're supposed to do on Passmark. Like the CPU, you get 2 of them together, they're supposed to score around 26,699 with a single thread of 1922, which, looking at when I did the Passmark benchmark, the 2 I got in this board actually scored like 31,163 on the CPU mark, and then 2052 on the single thread. So yeah, not too shabby, I'd say. I'm pretty impressed with them, really, because you look at that level, just the pretty much the multi-thread performance, and it's right up there with some pretty pricey, or pretty modern stuff. 13 Gen i7, or like what else do we have in here? Ryzen 7, like the 8745H, also right up in the 30,000 range, or i5 14th gen. So it's pretty decent, wallop of CPU performance, in my opinion, for like $20. Or let's see, it wasn't quite $20. It was pretty much $20. Plus tax, maybe $22, but not bad in comparison to some of those other CPUs that we were seeing on this chart here, where you'd be paying at least a couple $100, maybe $300 or $400, depending on what you get. I mean, yeah. But anywho, so yeah, had to get coolers for them too. So it's got just 2 cheapos, but if you look at it, it does have, copper heat pipes. It's only got the 3-pin fan header, so it's not going to be controlled by the motherboard. But from some of the reviews I was reading about a lot of these AliExpress motherboards, a lot of them don't really have the fan controllers anyway, so you're not really losing anything. And what I've seen, like temperature-wise, they kept the temperature down like super in spec, like idle. It was like around 20 degrees Celsius, and then it did not get over 70 when under load, just running the benchmarks anyway. So pretty effective little CPU coolers, I'd have to say, for the price of, let me see, yeah, $12.99 a pop. Not too bad. You know, not the best thing out there, but if you're building a budget dual CPU setup like I was attempting to here, then it might be what you're looking for. Just maybe. I don't know. Anyways, so yes, this is the graphics card in there, huh? Is it going to show? Yep. So this is what the graphics card is like. The NVIDIA, the Gigabyte NVIDIA GeForce GTX 970 4GB. The Wind Force. It's got a bright LED that glows on the side of it. It's not quite showing the order. I guess it already canceled. Oh, there we go. Let's see here, huh? I got any more pictures of it? Not really. Anyways, got pictures in the case here we can look at. So yes, there it is. My upside down picture here. It's the Wind Force. The Wind Farce. Yes, yes it is. And we'll see. I'm getting right along. Get on the build here, getting the power supply plugged in. We'll skip over and we'll take a look at that thing right there. It's this Corsair HX750. And I actually got that one for dang near free. But if I was to go buy one on eBay, it could be, around $50 or so used. I'd imagine at least 100 to 150 new if you're getting it. I haven't looked it up really, but that's what I'm guessing. Somewhere in that range. Yeah. Nice Corsair, fully modular. Or not fully I guess, I don't know if that's considered fully modular because it has like the main 24-pin power and CPU power that like are just hooked up to the power supply. And then the rest of it's all, add, take away, whatever cables you need for the setup. I actually had to find some cables because the power supply that I got was like very, very limited. I think it did only have like the 24-pin and the 8-pin for the CPU, and I had to round up all the other cables from what I had lying around, or I think I had to order like at least one more cable just for the second CPU plug-in, because looking back at this motherboard, it has, count them, 1, 2 8-pin CPU things that you got to account for there. Yes. So it looks like, look back at the video of what I'm doing, putting stuff together. It looks like I was checking out the BIOS maybe. Let me see, what was I doing there? Yeah, I finally got everything installed on the board. I was just looking to see what's going on with it. Trying to check out, what features the BIOS has, because like a lot of these, dealing with the AliExpress motherboards, the BIOS they have are like really kind of dated architecture. I mean, there's only just recently when I got a i7 motherboard, like 1151, where I started to see an AliExpress motherboard that actually you could use your mouse on and click around and things. All the other ones I'd seen before that are all just old school. You got to navigate by a keyboard alone. But anyways, we'll move on through the components that I got going on here, and maybe we'll start speeding this up a bit because it's videos. Uh-oh. I think I kind of... There we go. Yeah. Well, never mind doing that there, huh? There we go. Get that sucker back in place there. That's good. That's a little bit better there. But yeah, I didn't mean to start all the way back at the beginning here. We're into this about here. And instead of switching to the next video entirely, what I meant to do was simply double the speed up. So I move this show along here because I'm going to run out of stuff to say if if that happens. But anyways, back to the components here. So we just covered the graphics card kind of, but how did this graphics card perform here? So the average G3D mark is 9637. And how did it perform here instead? Switch back over to my benchmark. And only 8541. But once again, I was still doing this on a 720p monitor, which what I've experienced on this benchmark pretty much nerfs it down a good like 15 and maybe even 20%. Have to test it on a 1080p monitor to get the full 3D mark score there. But after the graphics card, have going on is, let's see here. Yes, this is the solid state drive that went into this board. It's a Patriot P300 here. Which scores around 8907. Yeah, so 8907 on the pass mark for the M.2 Ñvme. And the one in this system actually scored like 157, which is, you know, better than the stock assessment on the pass mark side. So I'd give credit to the motherboard for that, I guess. I mean, maybe the motherboard's running it quicker than, yeah, I don't know. Either the motherboard or the solid state drive. Something gets credit for it anyways. I don't know. Anywho. So, yeah. And then, of course, there are the fans that I used. Which I only used one in the front, actually, just to add a little bit of color. Maybe I did use two. Let's check out the picture. What did I end up doing here? Okay, yeah, I think I ended up using both the red fans here. One in the rear and one in the front. Yep, got one in the rear there. One in the front here. Those are just these suckers right here. Is like $12.99 for a 2-pack, and they don't have the red ones on here. Maybe they're out of stock or something. I think I also picked up some of the green ones at the same time, and then I just picked up some of the blue ones here. I mean, not your top of the line fan out there, but they run, you know, reasonably quiet, and they don't. I know a lot of the RGB things, they're, you know, nicer if you got a full system that's integrated, but some cheaper motherboards you get, they don't have a built-in RGB controller, so then you have to get some kind of secondary, you know, RGB controller just to use your fans and have them have color. So it adds to the expense list if it's something more you have to get. But anyways, there, and here is the memory that I got for a total of 64 gigabytes. This is I don't know if it shows the whole order, but yeah, it's like, so this is just for 16 gigs. I think that's for yeah, so there's 16 gig sticks. So I think I just got 4 of the sticks, and that added up to the 64 gigs of RAM there. So, yep. So I didn't even fill out the slots really, because then potentially in these boards, I'm pretty sure like you can even get the 32 gig sticks of RAM, and they're like yeah, like you can get like up to 512 gigabytes total in the motherboard. Yeah, it's on pretty decent potential for maximum memory if you're actually going to use that much. I guess maybe if you're doing like some kind of music, you know, production or video rendering, maybe you could tap into using that much RAM, and there's definitely purposes out there. But anyways, yeah, there's the power supply. There's pictures of the final build that I have. Upside down picture. But the alien head, and this is into the case here that we were doing. I'd finally got it cleaned out, and it was a pretty cool old case that I'd gotten for you. I got it with a few other cases, so maybe if you divide up how much, I think I spent $70 on like five old cases in a box of random old computer gear. Probably overpaid for it, but you know, I wasn't really one to haggle with the guy. It was just a thing. Didn't feel like it at the time. But a pretty cool old case. It's like I think it's the old Cyber Power or something, or had a. Let me see if it says on the front here. Yeah, I think that's like a C and a P. So I think that's an old Cyber Power. Like at first I thought it was an Alienware. It's like I was like, oh, aliens. It's got to be an Alienware, right? But no, it's just alien themed, and I guess that's Cyber Power or something, whatever the heck that symbol is. But I mean, it's like the system that was on it had like, you know, straight up IDE. It was running Windows XP, so it was a very dated system. I think like early 2000s, probably something like that. But you know, huge case. So it's plenty of room, perfect for this motherboard as far as I saw. And I even had like some like USB 3.0, like it was just like a cable with two plugins. So I grabbed some scrap metal and rigged it up in here just so there's some kind of USB 3 on the front. Because it had these two non-functional little USB 2s, or probably actually USB 1 in here, and like they did not hook up, did not work. Because they were only like they had like a 4-pin connector with like a 1-pin ground, and not compatible with the USB 2 plugins on the motherboard, as far as I could tell, unless I was plugging in things wrong according to the pinout that I looked at. But yeah, I'm pretty good housing. Looking at the video there, having, you know, I kind of like the color setup. Have two blue LEDs for the CPU fans encapsulated with the two red ones on the end. Seemed like a fairly decent setup there. But yeah, all in all, the motherboard as it is, you know, dual CPU, scoring, you know, better than the Passmark rating. And maybe we'll just look up like how much. Okay, so look up that real quick. Do some active stuff. Wasn't even set up for this. Let's see. So go to these, see if we can find. So how much does a Ryzen Pro 8700G cost on eBay? We'll just look at that real quick, huh? Sorry, no, yeah. No, we just want the CPU, huh? Parts, CPUs and processors. Yeah. Let me see here. Lowest first. So yeah. That's just the 7700G. Yep. Okay, so that's from China, supposedly like $350. So two CPUs for $20, at least done, you know, multi-thread, multitasking stuff, perform about the same as this $350 used CPU, which I'd pretty good bang for the buck. I'd say definitely there. I'm getting closer to the end of my putting it together video, and I've ran out of stuff to talk about too. So you know what? I think we're pretty much gonna call that. Go look at my posting one more time. Shut it down. That's what I named it, the GameStation /server. Dual CPU, 28 core, 56 threads, 64 gigs of RAM. For $425. That's what I put up for first. I think I dropped it to 400, just trying to get it moving along here. But pretty fun little hobby project. That's the main reason I do any of this, is just because I enjoy putting systems together and playing with parts. That's definitely the truth there. Yeah. Read through the listing here. GameStation / server, retro alien theme, blue full ATX case. New X99 dual CPU ATX motherboard. And 2 new CPU coolers. Windows 11 Pro 64-bit. Dual E5 2697 version 3. 28 core 56 thread CPUs. New 128 gig M.2 Ñvme SSD. Plus I had a terabyte SATA 7200 RPM hard disk drive. And 64 gigs of DDR4 2100 registered ECC. 4 times 16 gigabytes. And so yeah, 512 gigabyte max, as I was saying. That's with if you have all 32 gigabyte DIMMs. With a GTX 970 4 gigabyte graphics card, which is old, but in my opinion, it's still like probably about the very least you'd want to stick into something that you want to do some kind of little bit of gaming here and there. I mean, it's not by all means what some might call an entry level card, because it is so dated, but still gets the job done. You can get still do all the things, sometimes lower settings, 1080p. Still pretty effective for like the $40, and you can't really get much else unless you find like a RX 580. But for those, they still tend to ask more like $50 or $60 from what I've been seeing on eBay. Anyways, there it is. This beastly alien computer. Hope you enjoyed the video, and like, subscribe, whatever that, if you enjoy my incoherent rambling about tech stuff that I throw together in my garage. Anyways, talk to you next episode, people. Adios.